everyone, this is Riccardo Masini and this is vlog, and this vlog is about C3i number 37, or even better, the free complete games included in this amazing issue, because as we all know, apart from the great articles and the great pieces of C3i, in every issue we find a lot of expansion, a lot of expansions, a lot of game material, additional game material, but also many included many insert games. In this issue, well, I think that Roger McGowan really tried to spoil us, because he gave us free, complete, fantastic, amazing games. Okay, and one bit of a warning. Well, this will be the last vlog episode before the summer break of August, the usual summer break of this channel. However, I will be producing more content even during the summer, even during August. However, this will be the last full-length episode until September. Okay, now let's get into the games, and the first one is this big bad boy, Drive on Mats. Well, it's not big, but it's fantastic because it's a game by, the man, James F. Dunnigan. Jim Dunnigan, yes, that Jim Dunnigan. This game appeared for the first time in the early 80s with as an insert to Dunnigan's War Games Handbook, and the idea is that after an entire handbook dedicated to the theory of simulation games, mostly of traditional action counter simulation games, you could get a small game that managed to take into practice all that theory. And in the book's chapters, well, you could find why do I regulate movement in such a way, or a zone of control in this other way, on how do I get my map, how do I draw my map, and all of this was calibrated around these, I wouldn't even say introductory game, this didactic game. This game taught you how traditional action counter war games worked, why did they include some elements, and why did they include those elements in a very specific fashion. All of these with an amazingly fun and entertaining game, because after that you could photocopy the last pages of the handbook and cut them out and have a fantastic war game, which was perfect to introduce people to the hobby, but which was a very nice, entertaining war game on World War II, on Patton's advance into Germany. Fantastic, very interesting, a very interesting tactical situation around maths that ended with a marginal German victory, because the Germans managed to get to keep the army together and slow down Patton's forces long enough to evacuate the sector in an orderly fashion and maintain a more or less line of defense. All of this is included in this game, and this game, well, people like this game so much. Dunnigan designed it as a teaching tool, but people really like this game so much that in the early 2000s, Victory Point Games made a new edition adding some elements, and later C3i already in the early 2010s, I think, already published it, and now we have this new version. And guess what? This is a fantastic game to introduce people to the hobby. This is what this game is designed for. it shows, and also, but it also takes them inside the hobby in a fascinating, in a very deep way. So very nice, very good looking, also in this new version, but very calibrated and very interesting also for wargamers, for expert wargamers. Why not? Don't revisit just an old friend. Now, the main strength points of these games, of this game is this game teaches you the main principle of wargaming, which means that rules are 3 pages and a half long, nothing much. I have to say, this game also teaches you the real complexity behind wargames. This is something I wrote on a piece on the Italian Facebook group Ludo Storia. War games, starting with experiences with this game, war games are, especially traditional action counter war games, are the game of choices. You have a lot of different choices to choose from. Incredible amount of different choices, and in this game they're very clear. Do I get to the secondary objective of Thionville, or should I ignore Thionville and concentrate on Metz? And how do I, as the Allied, as the American, but as the German, how do I keep my defensive line together? Should I occupy all those forts, or should I have a more advanced line? And should I withdraw troops early on in the game when they give me more victory points? Or should I keep them on the map to slow down the Allies? All of these choices are very clear in this game, but it is not clear. It is great. Which are the better choices based on the situation? This really teaches you, taking away the complexity of the rules that is almost non-existent. Okay, these are simple, very simple mathematical equations, operations, not even equations. Okay, but it really keeps you on these strategic and tactical choices. Fantastic, amazing, absolutely. And it is fantastic to see this game in this way. This game also, thanks to the victory point games, well, it has also variants, optional variants. We have, for example, just like here, Allied air, tactical air formations that can give you tactical bonuses on some, or interdiction operations. And you have optional troops for the Allied that cost some victory points, but also the German can decide to have, okay, I want to have these troop at full strength. Yeah, great, but it costs you those victory points. And all of these really with very simple games. So yeah, there's not so many variations, not so much replayability, to be fair, because it is a small game, but there are not enough variations to keep you interested. And let's face it, this is the perfect game for you to take out of the shelf and take on the table with your friend that really is not a wargamer, but he or she wants to try wargames. Okay, let's try it. It is mathematical. It will not last anyway more than an hour, so it is a very short game, very interesting, but wow, what a game. So it is fantastic to have it on the table on a new edition. And thank you very much to C3i. It is important that these games are printed now, that we can get more people on the wargaming table, on the wargaming hobby, and these are perfect games just for that. But these, and also check out the optional rules also about armored formation disengagements and formations and formation coherence. There are lots of possible variants and optional rules. So much in such a small format game. So this is a very great game for travel, also for travel format too. So a very nice game, fantastic. But this is not the only great game that was included in this amazing C3i issue. Alright, there's the second game included in this issue of C3i, and this game is Baddest Campaign by Dan Forney. So Dan Forney, we have already met him. He is the designer of many great Battles of History modules, but also of many great Worthington Games titles. So he's a veteran game designer, very interesting, but he is capable of creating rich and deep titles, deep games, deep strategy games, but very small rules of red. And in this game in particular, he takes the Gettysburg and Waterloo campaign and, yes, Rebel Fury system by Mark Hamill in an entirely new period, Ancient Warfare. This is the Second Punic War. Here we have the armies of Publius Scipio the Elder and Gnaeus Scipio against the Carthaginians, Hasdrubal Barca and Mago. But okay, the Scipio, those are the Scipio brothers. Publius Scipio the Elder is the father of Publius Scipio, who will become the Africanus. And this campaign, Publius Scipio and Gnaeus Scipio will meet their end, and this is a very crucial moment of the Second Punic War. We are in modern day Spain. At the time it was called Iberia, and so we have the Romans with some Iberian allies against Carthaginians, and there is many more Carthaginians, many more Iberian allies. So this is a game that really takes that dynamic, highly dynamic, interactive system to a greater extent, because you see such a wide open map, so many alternatives, so many options to explore for this campaign. Also the tactical situation is very interesting. We have one Roman army here and another there. They are divided, and Gnaeus Scipio is almost already engaged with those Carthaginian forces. Publius Scipio could go to his head, but another Carthaginian army is forming up. So very interesting situation, very freeform game, and this really puts the maneuver element, which is a great component of this system, up to its very best in an ancient warfare period. So in a totally original period, which is a testimony of the great flexibility, of the great variety of this system, of how this system can be adapted for other periods. Also, in this game, we have many interesting elements. For example, much more asymmetry. The Numidian cavalry led by Masinissa, that at the time was still fighting for the Carthaginians, has a totally different behavior than Roman cavalry when engaged with enemy troops, also the elephant troops. But also the Carthaginians have very special elements. Some reinforcements, entry points are decided in secret before the Roman player does not know them. Also there is an option rule that makes that random. Also there are bribery options, so some of the Iberian allies of Rome will withdraw during the later turns, but this costs victory points to the Carthaginians. But also this choice, how much bribery is hidden from the Roman. This makes the game a bit difficult to play solitaire, and I have to be honest, I have not had the opportunity of playing it with another player during these weeks. So yeah, I tried some, but I understand that there is so much more when played by two players. In this context, there's so much more variety and replayability. Anyway, it's a great game. No questions, absolutely no questions. And yes, you have to be honest, this is the main game included in this C3i issue, and it shows, but it is still easy, very very fast playing, very original, and very, well, very nice. You see that on the table. So, and also there's not so many gaming PCs, so it is very easy to manage, but it will give you a solid experience for a couple of hours. And also, and I really hope that there will be more games with this system set in the ancient period, possibly in the medieval period as well, and in other periods rather than just the American Civil War, because this system really shines in the maneuver element in the operational scale. So here it is. Around the River Betis, a crucial campaign of the Second Punic War, and we can play that with a fast playing but very solid usage. This is the main game, absolutely the deepest, the most elaborate games included in C3i issue number 37. But there is still one title to go. Alright, the third game in C3i issue number 37 is the Spanish Road, El Camino Español. Why am I saying it in Spanish? Because this is a game by my good friend Daniel Hernandez Iniesta. Daniel is a great great Spanish wargamer, and he's also designing a game about the 30 Years' War, a card-driven game, El Colapso, The Collapse, and together with my other friend Paolo Carraro, we are helping Daniel with the scenarios about northern Italy in the 30 Years' War. This is a seldom covered, seldom treated scenario of the 30 Years' War, but that is very important. And apart from the collapse, Daniel has also created this small but very ingenious, very interesting, and also quite deep solitaire game, The Spanish Road. It has been published in Spain as El Camino Español. It was, I think, a gift game or something like that, and now we can have it in English exposed to the great public of C3i magazine, and this is a very interesting game. Okay, what are we doing here? What we are seeing is the Spanish Road. What is the Spanish Road? It was the logistic corridor that connected northern Italy, and here we have Lombardy, to Flanders, to the Flanders that were almost always in revolt. This diagonal, this corridor, cuts deep into all of Europe, and between northern Italy and Flanders, that were the two regions controlled more or less by the Spanish crown, there was France, there were the Protestant German states, there were the Swiss, there were also the Alps. So this was a very crucial but very difficult logistical path to maintain for the Spanish crown. The idea is that all the reinforcements and resupplies and material had to come from Spain to northern Italy, to Lombardy, and then cut across the Spanish Road and reach Flanders. Now we're speaking about the 30 Years' War. Yeah, but not just that. And this game testifies this, because in this game we have to choose between three different Spanish commanders: the Duke of Alba, Ambrogio Spinola, and the Cardinal Infante Ferdinand, the Cardinal Infante. And if we see the dates, 1507, 1582 for Alba, 1567, 1630 for Spinola, and Ferdinand is 1609, 1641. We have 1 century and a half of European history here in this game. And every one of these leaders has its own abilities, its own characteristics. So then the game becomes different with each leader you you choose because, for example, Alba is better at open battles. He will fight with 2 dice, okay? For example, okay, let's see, 2 dice, the army, and just 1 for the sieges. Spinola is 1 for the armies and 2 for the sieges, and it's bonus, so you will be more siege oriented. Ferdinand Cardinale Infante has 1 for the army, 1 for the sieges, and 1 for the Tercio Momentum. The Tercio Momentum are special bonuses that the Spanish can use. Okay, what is your purpose in this game? First of all, we have a setup, and it is random, and these are the enemy armies. Italian, Swiss, and Protestant. These are the dice that they roll in each battle. There, the setup is random with every play. You choose one of your leaders, for example, Alba, and then you have to go from Lombardy to Flanders, deeply hostile territory. Not only you have to defeat those armies, which is quite difficult by itself, but also you have to besiege those areas, and once you have besieged them, you will be able to create the Spanish road. That is your main source of points. You have also to create the logistics corridors behind your steps. It's not just that you have to reach Flanders. Okay, how does the game work? We have a first diplomacy phase that are some special events. Okay, oh sorry, you decide before the duration of the game. Easy, you have 14 turns, that is weeks to reach Flanders, medium 12, and difficult 10, just 10 turns. Okay, and first of all you have the diplomacy phase, and in this diplomacy phase many things can happen, many events. Most of all, French Comte can come in revolt, and another enemy army can arrive here and cut your logistics. Then you have an event phase when you have some events that are favorable to the Spanish, others to the enemies of the Spanish, to the Spanish enemies. And then you have your operations phase. Your operations phase, you move your army, or you act with your army. You can get some reinforcements. This is the strength of your army that battle after battle will decrease. You can try, the closer you are to Lombardy, the easier it is to get it back to full, to obtain more reinforcements. And then another action is to move, but you have to do an attrition roll with these mileages. You see this small tower here, and sometimes it is difficult. Sometimes you have alpine passes that can cause losses to your army, etc. Sometimes you maybe if you fail your logistics law, your move is cancelled. After that, you have you can do battle. For example, let's say that Alba gets its logistics law here, moves to Savoy, and then has to battle. Alba will roll 7 plus 2, 9 dice, while the Italians will roll 4 dice. For every 2, 5, and 6s, for every couple, let's see, okay, every couple you get a hit, but also the enemy. Who does the most hits and the ties are won by the enemy will carry on the battle. You just need 1 hit to eliminate this army, that's fine, but every single hit you receive, you lose men, you get losses, so you have attrition to your army. Another action is besiege. You have to besiege, exactly like a battle, except that the enemy will roll the double of these dice, that is 4 dice against yours, and if you manage to win that battle, okay, you get the control of that region, or you can leave a garrison to isolate the enemy strongholds, and you lose immediately. Use just this value, is up to you. However, once you have control of an area, another action you can do is to try to create the Spanish road behind you. and that's it. And you try turn after turn to reach Flanders by building also those Spanish road, that Spanish road behind you. The next phase is the enemy movement phase. You see in every region you have those dice rolls, and we roll for every single enemy army that we have on the map. For example, let's say we roll for SS, we see where does it go? 5. 5 means that 5 really goes to battle, but 2 armies cannot be in the same region, and 2 armies become a coalition army. Here it is. And a coalition army rolls 7 dice, and when you have 7 dice, especially at the end of the game, well, that's bad news. 2 armies cannot coexist in the same region, but you will see some interesting things, like, for example, armies coming to you, coming back, and etc. After that, well, you have the final phase, and in the final phase, if you have reached Flanders, you check your victory points. And remember, your victory points are gained by, yes, eliminating enemy armies, yeah, field battles, but also by conquering regions. And also, after that, after I've been conquered region, especially building the Spanish road, you have to build at least to have the Spanish road secure, and have another bonus, 5 Spanish roads in 5 different regions. And most of all, those regions should be connected if you manage. It is not easy, I can tell you. Oops. Okay, let's take it a bit better. The camera. So yeah, it is not easy. If you have not reached Flanders, there is a Te-Deum phase. What is the Te-Deum? This is a special religious mass that is held in your honor to give you courage for another week, and so on and so on, until you reach the end of the game. So that's it. And this game, which is very simple, but it is also a solitary game that is deeply engaging. It has a deep emotional aspect, because you have attrition. Your army is going battle after battle, loses strength to you. Just need, and every time you have decisions to make: should I besiege that place? Should I go hunting for enemies? Should they stop here and build a Spanish road? Should they wait for reinforcements? But will those reinforcements arrive? And what are the special events at every turn? It is very, very tense, full of choices, which makes for an excellent solitaire. What is also the other factor that makes for a good solitaire game? Replayability. And we see we have 3 different leaders, each with his own characteristics to choose from, but also the enemy, the initial setup of the enemy is random. So really no 2 games will ever be alike. This leads to a bit of variation, but yeah, it's fine. You have also different difficulty levels, so there's a high replayability. It is a very challenging game. What are the faults of the game? This game, the defects? Well, I would have liked more a single, more comprehensive player aid. I have lots of tables to browse in the rule book. It's just a few pages, but time after time after time that can become consuming. However, on Board Game Geek, there is a player aid made by, I think, Dice to Schedule himself. There is a small detail that should be more specified, but you find that on Board Game Geek, though, no problem about that. There is a small printing error here. You see this tract of the Spanish Army Forces 0122. It should be a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But hey, those are the 2 faults that I have found in this game. One has been corrected thanks to Board Game Geek. The other is frankly irrelevant. So this is a very nice, very compelling, short, but highly replayable. Yes, it is a cherry effect storytelling game, and Daniel has been able to condense this small snippet of European history, but very crucial, very important, in a very simple solitaire game. Yeah, this is the last. Oh, and of course, I cannot wait to play finally to have El Colapso, The Collapse, the game about the 30 Years' War by Daniel. This is another testament of the great Spanish war game design school that is emerging finally in these years. It has been with us for many years, but now finally is emerging in full light, and I am so glad for this. So this is the last of the 3 complete original games included in this issue of C3i, and this is also the last episode of vlog before the summer break of August. There will be more or less some videos, mostly in Italian, and I will be on the Ludo Storia Facebook group, updating you with new posts and new content. But for full-fledged vlog episode, we'll see back in September. Anyway, oh, I just forgot to add one thing. Do you imagine, can you imagine a game like this about Lexington and Concord? Hint, hint. This is something that, interesting thought. Okay, some random thoughts here and there. Yeah, it was a note that I just forgot to mention, but I think that is very relevant, very important, because such a simple system is, it can be used to portray different historical events. Okay, with this random note, okay, have a nice holiday, have a nice summer. See you back in September, but stay tuned to the channel because there will be some more content, I think. Well, and if you want, you can subscribe to the Ludo Storia Facebook group that is mostly in Italian, but we have also content in English for our international friends. So that's it for this episode. Thank you very much, and as always, don't be scared. It's just war games. Ciao.